Yo, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video, and in today's video I'm going to be ranking all the shotguns in Fortnite history. Now throughout the life of Fortnite there have been so many different shotguns added, and it has changed the meta. Shotguns have been an integral part of Fortnite. They've been one of the most important guns in the game. I mean, they've been pretty much a go-to for every Fortnite loadout, whether you're playing casually or you're playing competitively. So I'm going to be ranking them on a tier list. Casually and competitively, both casual and competitive play will play a factor in how I rank these. So, but yeah, let's get into the tier list. But before I do, be sure to like and subscribe. And I'm going to go over the tiers real quick. We have S tier, which means the broken god tier shotguns. We have A tier, which means the overall pretty good shotguns, the very good shotguns. B tier means they're solid, they're decent, they're okay. C tier means they're kind of bad or not really the best, but they aren't terrible. And then D tier means absolute garbage. And speaking of these tiers, I'm actually going to change the colors real quick. D tier is red, C tier is orange, B tier is yellow, A tier is light green, and S tier is full green. Alright, let's get into it. Let's get on into it. I'd also like to point out that two things actually. So I am going to be factoring in my personal experience with these shotguns when playing Fortnite. And also, yes, I am using a different mic than in some of my previous videos. That's because this is my backup mic, and that's because I'm saving my main mic for a very special announcement coming in late February, early March. And some of y'all might already know what that announcement is, but I'm not going to reveal it too much. Anyway, let's get on into it. Alright, starting off on this list, we have the auto shotgun. So this shotgun was added in Chapter 2, or no, not Chapter 2, Chapter 3, Season 1, along with the striker pump down here. And I think a lot of people are going to agree with me when I say this. I think this is the worst of the two. I honestly, I'm going to be honest guys, I think this is a D tier shotgun. Every time I use this gun in a fight, most of the time I lose the fight because of how clunky and weird and just bad this gun is. It doesn't do the damage. It's like a worse version of the TAC, to be honest. And it can be usable in some of the higher rarities, but it's just not a good shotgun. D tier for the auto shotgun. Alright, up next we have both of the charged shotguns. This is the epic and legendary one, and this is the gray, green, and blue one. The kits one is right here. I'm just going to move it to up here. Alright, we have the 3 charged shotguns in the game. First up we have the epic and legendary. To me this is definitely an A tier shotgun. I've always been good with the charged shotgun. I like it so much because of how good it fits my playstyle. I'm a controller player, so I kind of have a little bit of a W key playstyle. However, I do like to keep it safe. This fits both categories for me. I'm very comfortable with it. The lower tier charged shotgun, the gray, green, and blue one, it's still a B tier shotgun. It still packs the punch. And then, of course, the kit's charged shotgun back in Chapter 2, Season 3, when the whole map was flooded. This is obviously S tier. And everyone knows why. I mean, this thing, if you charge it up, did like 150 body shot damage, and then it did like 230 headshot damage. That's absolutely ridiculous. I hope this gun comes back in the near future. I think it's really healthy for the game, both casually and competitively. And in my opinion, it's one of my favorite shotguns. Up next, we have a controversial one, the combat shotgun. If you guys remember in Chapter 1, Season 9 and Chapter 1, Season X, this gun was S tier. It was broken. It dominated the meta. It pretty much was the meta. People didn't like it at first, but they gave it a damage buff and I think a range buff, I'm not sure. They gave it some kind of buff and people loved it and started using it over the TAC, and the TAC I'll get to later in the video. But now after the nerfs in Chapter 2, Season 4, in my opinion, it's just a C tier shotgun. It doesn't pack the punch like it used to anymore. It used to deal out so much damage, and it just doesn't do that anymore. The range is still there. It does still decent damage from range. It is the longest range shotgun in the game, I think. I don't think it deserves D tier because if you can hit your shots and uh, just use good aim. I mean, I'm a controller player. I mean, that's a different topic for a different day. I still think it's better than the auto shotgun, so I'll put the combat shotgun in C tier. I have respect for it, but I just don't really think it needs to come back to the game. Up next, we have the double barrel shotgun. Ooh, this is a tough one for me. Back in the day, so this was in Chapter 1, Season 5, Season 6, and Season 7. And then it came back briefly when Tilted Town was added in the mech season. This might be controversial. I'm just gonna stick it in a solid B tier. I know some people loved it, and I know some people hated it. But for me, it was just right in the middle for me, man. Like, you have to literally stuff this in someone's face in order for you to kill them properly with this gun. And I just... It wasn't my favorite shotgun to use. If you got up close, it definitely did the damage. But it was just okay for me. It really should go into C tier, but I'm going to give it B tier because of the damage it does. Competitively, I don't really think it's that good for the game. And casually, maybe, but I'd rather just not. It's fine. There's better shotguns. Up next, we have the Dragon's Breath shotgun. Speaking of sticking a shotgun in your face, this gun is literally what that's about. You literally have to stuff this in someone's... You have to literally put this on someone's forehead in order to kill them. Do I think it's as good as the double barrel? I do not. I'm going to put it C tier. And here's why. The double barrel fires 2 shots. This thing only fires 1 shot, and it takes a crap ton of time to reload. It deals out pretty good damage, but you better have an SMG on hand after using this thing. Otherwise, just good luck winning the fight. This is just a good, like, damage dealer when damage needs to be done. Like, competitive, I think it could be decent because it could help out when W-keying someone and you need Storm Surge. But overall, I think it's just better off out of the game. Up next, we have the drum shotgun. This thing was added in Chapter 1, and it hasn't been back since. I remember I was briefly a mobile player during the mech season. I mostly played that season on mobile. It was good for mobile, but this gun's horrible. I actually think this gun is one of the worst shotguns in the game. Honestly, I actually think it is the worst shotgun in the game. I actually think the auto shotgun's better. This gun is just, it barely does any damage. The blue one is semi, like, okay average, but it's just a stupid gun. It's a fringe gun, and I think it's the worst shotgun ever added. Up next, we have the heavy shotgun. I think this is coming back actually later in this current season of Chapter 3, Season 1. This thing hasn't been in the game in a while. Hasn't been officially in the game since Chapter 1, Season 7. That's when it was regularly in the game. Obviously, they brought it back in some limited time modes, like Close Encounters. Competitively, I think this is decent. I think this is good for good damage tags. It's a very solid, consistent shotgun. I am going to put it in B tier. Some people loved the thing, some people absolutely hated it. But to me, I actually enjoy using it. I'm not going to put it A tier because I think the charged shotgun is just a better version of it. But the heavy shotgun is not a bad shotgun by any means necessary. It deals out consistent damage. It fires somewhat slow. It fires faster than a pump. But if you hit someone in the head, it does devastating damage. But it's overall consistent shotgun. I think it would be good in a competitive meta right now, and I'm so hyped for it coming back if the rumors are true. Up next, we have the lever action shotgun. This is a very, very hard one for me. If you guys are wondering what tiers, I'm in between A and B tier for this one. I really don't know. I'm gonna go A tier because I'd much rather use it over any of these three, unless the heavy has a higher rarity. Then I'd rather use a heavy. But the lever shotgun is basically take the heavy shotgun's consistency and put the pump shotgun's body damage on it. It's so. I also want to point out how fluent it is with edits. It's really good when box fighting for sure. I think this definitely needs to come back to the game, especially if, in the competitive meta. I think it would really work out well. The competitive meta's in shambles right now because of the broken SMG, the Stinger, and the MK7 is also kind of broken. But I think the lever would fit in nicely once it comes back into the game, and it's just consistency, man. This shotgun, it just deals consistent, fluent damage, and it just feels so good to use. So A tier for the lever shotgun. Up next we have, I'm going to move this one over here, we have the 3 shotguns from the Primal season. We have the Makeshift Shotgun, the Primal Shotgun, and the Mythic Primal Shotgun. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and put the Makeshift Shotgun at, it's not D tier, I actually think it's C tier. It deals out, like, okay damage. It's really just a worse version of the pump. I mean, it is called the Makeshift Pump for a reason. But if you hip fired this thing, it actually shot like, instead of going like doo, it went like doo 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 or something like that, and I thought that was actually a really cool mechanic added to the game. So I'm gonna give this C tier. It wasn't like necessarily terrible, but the Primal Shotgun, it's D tier. I'm sorry. If it was before the nerf, this thing would probably be S tier. But after they nerfed it, they nerfed this thing into the ground. This thing is just in a gravestone right now. And honestly, same thing for the Mythic one, but because it's Mythic, I'm just going to put it in C tier. But the C tier, I think the Mythic one did like slightly more damage, and I think it shot slightly faster. So I'll give that one C tier. But Primal Shotgun, doo-doo. Makeshift Shotgun, doo-doo. Both should probably never return to the game. Now up next is the one you have all been waiting for, the Pump Shotgun. I'm actually going to go ahead and do the family of pump shotguns right here, starting with the Spaz. Y'all already know, this is S tier. This is the best shotgun in Fortnite. When it was in the game, it's been flipping back and forth between being in the game and not being in the game. Currently, it's not in the game because the Striker Pump is. The Spaz, it's the perfect box fight weapon. It just does all around damage. It actually has decent range. It doesn't have the range of like a heavy shotgun or a charged shotgun or a combat shotgun or anything, but it still does okay damage from range. And then, of course, the feeling of 200 pumping someone. People are divided on this one because I think it could be good in a competitive meta, but I also don't really mind it being out of the game. I think it should be in pubs and arena. I don't know. And then for this pump right here, I'm just going to throw it probably... I'm actually going to throw this pump right here. I'm between A and B tier because this pump actually does somewhat... I'll keep it in B tier. I think it belongs in B tier. And then as for the Striker Pump, this the best shotgun currently in Fortnite, though no one's really using the shotguns because of the stupid broken SMGs. It's a B tier shotgun. It doesn't hit as hard as the normal pump, but it does have slightly more range, and it is pretty consistent and fluent with edits like the lever action shotgun. I actually roll with this shotgun a lot. I actually think this is a pretty good shotgun for the game to be in, both casually and competitively. I think this thing is very good for competitive meta. I think the lower tier pump could be decent for a competitive meta. The Spaz, I think, is a little bit too broken, but it really depends. People are divided. But yeah, that's my takes on the pump shotguns. Now, up next we have the family of tact shotguns, the tactical shotguns. We have the gray, green, and blue one, and the epic and legendary one. I'm going to go ahead and say that I think the epic and legendary one is A tier. I think it deals out very, very good damage. Doesn't quite hit as well with headshot damage, but it fires pretty fast. It's an overall very good weapon when used in team games, like duos and trios this season. Well, trios, this is mainly duos because of duo FNCS and all that. As for the lower tier one, I'm considering putting it in C tier. I'm going to refrain from that. I still think it's a B tier shotgun. It still deals out pretty good tags of damage. Headshot damage worries me with both of these shotguns, but it's good enough to where I think it's good for a competitive meta. Especially for this thing also is probably a must-have for casual players, in pub players, that also, and the Fortnite players that aren't very good, that are trying to get better. This is an easy weapon to use. And now that I think about it, I might actually move this pump up to A tier. I'm actually going to do that. This pump right here is A tier. And that's because it's so strong. It's just so strong. I already explained it. But yeah, that's my takes on the tactical shotguns. And finally, I saved a fun one for last. The exotic, the dub, the flint knock, weird double barrel shotgun. This thing's B tier. It's pretty much does the same amount of damage as its normal version. However, I think this is slightly better because it has that flint knock feature, can prevent you from taking fall damage. And is also very good for taking high ground in competitive. Now, should this be in a competitive meta? I don't see why not. I mean, it costs gold to even get this thing anyway, and gold is sort of hard to come by in competitive and in arena. So, I think overall B tier is a good spot for it. It could be A tier, but the fact that you have to buy it keeps it in B tier, which I think is very balanced. And yeah, the dub is just a very fun weapon to use. If you guys saw the EU Pro Kami, he pretty much mastered this gun. You should go watch it. Alright guys, that's going to be the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to like and subscribe. It's completely free and optional. It helps support me a lot as a content creator here on YouTube. And I will see you all next time I upload. Peace out, guys.